Alright, today we're going to be talking about the Don't Say Gay bill, or what it's actually called, the Parental Rights and Education Bill. Um, so I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Emmanuel, I'm going to start with you. Say
So
please.
basically, they passed this act in multiple states in the United States, and essentially what they're saying is that we cannot teach our children about like transgenders, gay people, like just in general, just the society that obviously has been built up in these last few decades with like obviously like the LGBTQ movement. They just essentially want our kids not to know anything about that, which in all honesty, like what Mateus and I were talking about earlier, is that I completely agree with the fact that we probably shouldn't be teaching our like younger kids in elementary about this, but eventually they're gonna find out, and I feel like it's just something that should be implemented in the schools. That they should probably just like teach them in a way where they're introduced to it, like in middle school and high school. But taking it away from them is kind of stupid because they're gonna be introduced to that nonetheless. Which I just don't get why the school system wants to do something like that. And the fact that somebody can get actually like I don't know, like they don't get arrested, right, Renzo?
No, they did not get arrested. The,
Okay, but they still get in trouble for it
the,
for
um,
saying anything about gay shit.
right, so the teachers or any faculty will, they might get in trouble. I don't know if they actually do get arrested, but
That's
no
that's
teacher.
ridiculous. Like honestly, it's stupid because in all honesty, it's a part of our culture. I mean, I'm not trying to like I'm not personally gay myself, but like Alex, shut the. As he is, he thinks I'm gay.
Couldn't keep a
But
straight face when you said that.
Yeah, keep straight face, boys.
okay, but yeah, I mean, it's a part of our culture, and I just feel like not allowing our kids to talk about that is just stupid. Like I don't know. I just don't agree with the bill at all. I just think that somebody that can get in trouble just for talking about it is just ridiculous, and it just also ties in with the fact that we have our freedom of speech. We can talk about whatever we want, and limiting ourselves to not have those conversations is just ridiculous. It's a part of our culture. Please, like, don't do that.
Okay,
I
so
think
you,
it's ridiculous.
so you disagree with the bill.
100%. Yes, it's stupid.
So, Alex, I'm going to move on to you. What do you think about the bill?
Shoot. So about the bill, I agree with some of its stuff and I disagree with some of its stuff. I definitely agree with it being be only between K through third grade,
Third
right?
grade, yeah.
That I mean, cause they're young, like they don't even gotta be worrying about any kind of sexual education, I'd say, or into any of that stuff. In my honest opinion, I'm not sure. Just a little too young. They should just be trying to have fun. And but I do disagree. The bill does allow teachers to, like, let's say the kids are hiding from the teachers. The bill allows teachers or makes teachers have to tell the parent about their sexual orientation or like how if they're part of the LGBTQ.
Well, the bill actually, all it states, the bill, is that it regulates the teachers and faculty to not talk about anything about sexual orientation or anything like that. Let me real quick actually bring up exactly what the bill says here. So the bill says classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through third grade or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmental appropriate for students in accordance to state standards. So all it's saying is that teachers and faculty and anything, they just can't talk about sex or anything like that. It doesn't actually say anything about how, let's say, for instance, a kid goes up, which is actually did happen on, I believe it was NBC, what was it, NMNBC or something like that. On MSNBC, there was actually a Florida teacher that was against this bill, and he said that he couldn't talk about what he did during the weekend with
I
his
remember
husband.
that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And he couldn't talk about like what he did on the weekend with his husband. I think he said he was going like what was it, like
Wait, so if you
canoeing
have
or
a
something like that.
personal life outside of work, you can't even talk about that at school?
No. So what happened, right, is he thinks he can't do that. What the bill says is that you can say that you went out or anything like that, but if the students go and say like, what do you mean you have a husband or whatever, all you're supposed to do is instead of saying, "Oh, I'm gay," and then explaining to them what gay is because they don't know because they're K through third.
How dare
And
they?
so basically, what it says is that the teacher is not supposed to talk about them about sexual orientation or gender identity or anything like that. All they're supposed to say is talk to your parents about it, and that's the end of that. It's not supposed to go any farther than that.
Okay, I completely agree. Okay, so wait, I'm confused because I thought this bill was like all the way up till high school.
No, so it's only K through third.
Well, I need to know this information. I thought
Oh
it
yeah,
was
it's on the
like
bill. So
okay, so this is just talking about with kids who are like all the way up to third grade.
right.
That's like what, 5 years old? Like
Okay, there's
no,
nothing wrong with the
Uh,
no,
bill.
that's like 6, 7.
There's
Honestly,
really nothing that bad
that's
with the
nice.
bill.
Yeah, that's like 7.
mhm.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
I
So
thought, bro, this undermines the entire discussion because I thought we
exactly.
were talking about f***ing kids who are like in high school. Okay, this is not that ridiculous. I mean, in all honesty, I mean, I still think you should be at like, hey, like, yeah, I have a husband, I'm gay. I don't think there's anything wrong with
Yeah,
that.
you can say that. It's not
If they
against
like
the bill.
further, if they like be okay, yeah. If they go into further instruction, and be like, hey, what do you mean you're gay and all that? I'd be like, yeah, yeah. And then ask your parents about it. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, if they ask
There's nothing wrong with this
what gay
bill.
is, you just tell
The hell?
you tell them to tell their parents.
Didn't
Okay.
a second ago we were like talking about the fact that probably Renzo can't be talking about this topic because he will literally get in trouble because of it?
Yeah, that's what I was telling you. I was saying we should wait till we start the podcast to actually talk about it. But yeah, it doesn't ban
Oh,
anyone else from talking about it. It doesn't even ban. It doesn't. You know what? In fact,
okay, okay, okay,
in the
okay, but
bill,
we
real quick, it doesn't say gay a single time in the bill. You know that? Yeah, it doesn't say
okay.
gay at all in the bill. Not a single time.
Okay, but here's my thing: is just like we just said, it's just from kindergarten to the third grade.
Exactly.
That's not like you can literally talk about this whenever you want. You can say gay
Yeah.
whenever you want, right,
And
Renzo?
and this is yeah, I can say gay right now
Then
if you
what's
want
wrong
to.
with the bill?
But here's the thing, right?
End of discussion.
Even
Done.
if yeah, even if you can, it's not saying that you can't talk about gay ever, right? The faculty, just not to kids while you're in school. That's all it's
Okay, then
saying.
there's nothing wrong with it.
Exactly.
So
Right.
the
That's
okay,
that's my
okay,
point as
okay.
well.
You literally okay. So I take it back. I'm not against the bill. I'm for the bill. The hell?
All right. So
LGBTQ is just over exaggerate. You literally just convinced me.
let me real
I
quick
thought
pull
this
up.
was a thing for all the way to high school or something like that. Okay, wait, but
Let me real quick move to Mateus. Mateus,
okay,
what are
no,
your
no, no,
thoughts
no,
on the
Renzo.
bill?
There's no way because I remember there was like full on like high school like riots about this. Like they would go after school and
Right.
then like
Well,
have
We'll get to that. Hold on,
yeah,
Manuel. We'll get to
well,
that in a minute. So, Mateus, what are your thoughts on the what's it called? Parental rights in education bill that people are calling it the "Don't Say Gay" bill.
I mean, it's just like it's the like constant thing of like just being misinformed and like taking like one thing that you see off the internet and then just escalating it.
So you think
Like
this is blown out of
I'm,
proportion?
yeah, I'm literally a victim to that. I thought it was completely about oh, don't say gay or whatever, but obviously not.
All right. So let me ask this question to all of you guys. Why do you think it's set? Why do you think the media and the mainstream media is calling it the "Don't Say Gay" bill, even if it doesn't
So
say
they
gay
can
a
get
single time?
the LGBTQ to get
because
it on it.
yeah.
Because the
I mean, in
LGBTQ
all honesty, you also got to remember that these news
plus
channels are really
organization,
meant to. This is
they
what I try.
all
One at a time, please. Please, one at a time.
Oh, you go first, Matis.
all right, yeah. The LGBTQ plus organization, they have a lot of influence. So if you can twist it to get their sort of influence, it's you kind of like have the world like wrapped around your finger.
So you think they do it for views, or do you think they do it for
It's
I
not
agree.
really views. It's kind
It's
of like
more
the
of an
power that
attention
it brings.
catcher. It
Yeah.
catches people's attention.
You also, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, you also
And
got to
like
remember.
like it's low key manipulation because like you see that and you're like, oh no, I would never support that. You send it to 20 other people, everyone else, no, I would never support that. Boom, like it just keeps going.
I mean, you guys have to understand something about news channels. At the core of a news channel, yes, they say, "Hey, our job is to spread the information that we receive." But at the core of it, they're a business. They're here to make money. They're gonna make these headlines seem like way worse than they are. They're gonna make this whole thing and blow it out of proportion. That's their job, essentially. to make everything seem worse than it really is. I'm not saying they do it for everything, but when they see an opportunity, they will fucking take it on the spot. Because a lot of people are very misinformed, and then when they actually read the bill, they're like, "Oh, it's not that bad." But according to the media, it's like it's horrible. But that's how they bring in people to watch their shit. It's simple.
Hmm.
It's very simple. That's all the issue is with this bill.
So
Just
now,
put it
after
like that.
hearing that, what do you guys think about the bill?
I
Well,
mean, what was the age for
It
anyone
was
to hear that
kindergarten
part?
through third.
And it was it the teacher couldn't mention it at all,
Um,
or
okay, there goes a manual. Uh, no, all it says is that teachers and school faculty and all that, they just can't talk to kids about being like their sexual orientation or their gender identity or anything like
like
that
like
from K through third.
them
Them
themselves,
themselves,
like
yes.
about their personal life.
No, just in general, they can't talk to, like, they can't say, oh, if you're gay, this and that and that. They're supposed to be like, okay, if you're gay or whatever, you should go
I
talk to your parents
mean,
about it. They're not supposed to extend on that part.
I
So
still kind of.
this is just so you know, separate from sexual education and all that.
Mm,
Then I would. I don't really agree with it
I
because it's kind of like it's constricting to those kids because it's kind of like okay, well, I thought I could confine to my teacher
So,
only, but
sorry, say that again because I was distracted with the manual.
you're fine. I don't really agree with it then, like, cause like what it like for me, like if I was in that situation, I can't confine to my teacher. Like if I figure out one day at school that like I like that I just don't feel the same anymore, or I've never felt the same, or whatever the case may be. You
So
know,
so let me ask you a follow up question with that
it
then.
just
Do you think that the kids should be talking about this with the teachers, or do you think they should be talking about this with their own parents, or do you think it doesn't
well,
matter with both?
think it's whatever that kid wants.
I think it like if you're at school and you want to ask your teacher about it because you're curious, then you can ask your teacher about it. I don't think it should be like you're not allowed to ask your teacher. Maybe if it's something that like the parents don't feel comfortable with, then that's something that you can go across with the school board and you can sign something to make sure that your kid like doesn't go across any of that type of language or whatever. Like they can get in a special class or whatever the case may be. But I feel like everyone should be educated to an extent. So like I feel like that just takes it away from
I mean, even
like
third graders.
kids. Like I don't know, like that safety that you just get from. I don't know. You could just be in the bathroom one
You
day and
don't
just
you
feel some
don't
type of
think
way, and then you just want to ask your teacher. It's just not really. It's just situational sometimes. It's not really about the person. Sometimes you just need to tell someone, and that someone might be your teacher. While you're, a little kid and you don't really understand anything in the world, so it would make sense for you to ask them.
You don't want
It's
to tell
not
your
like it's
parents.
something out of the ordinary.
okay? And Alex, do you wanna follow up on that, or do you think you?
I agree with. I agree and disagree to so much extent, but I also agree with Mateus on that point. But then also I also see it in the teacher side, like a teacher, like now, in the future, a gay or a trans or a teacher of the LGBTQ cannot really teach or feel comfortable teaching K through 3 because like she can't really be herself.
Well,
She,
there's nothing saying that they can't say that they're gay or anything like that, or in the LGBT community or anything like that. They're just not allowed to teach children about it.
but so they
Yeah,
can
but
talk about it.
okay, Renzo. Imagine
They
imagine being in a world where you're only allowed to teach people about gay and LGBTQ and everything that is not straight and everything. You know how like
Well,
Well, no, they're
depriving
not
that
supposed
is
to.
as a
They're not.
person?
Well, here's the thing. They're not supposed to be talking about straight or anything. It doesn't say that you can't be talking about gay only. Remember, the bill says that you're not supposed to talk
Teachers.
about sexual orientation in general, meaning straight,
Oh,
homosexual, transgender, anything like that.
So they're
You
treating.
also
Okay, so they're
Yeah,
treating.
but what if the teachers are?
That's fine. They can.
Like,
It's not like they can't say that
they
they
can't.
are. They just can't teach the kids about that. They can't teach the kids about being straight. They can't teach the kids about being gay. They can't, transgender.
They can't teach them.
Um, where they're not supposed to be teaching about anything like that.
Okay then. I don't see a problem with the bill.
Maybe they should implement where
It's
there's
okay.
like one
This whole,
teacher in the school that
dude,
can
this okay. This is
that
this is
can
kind of what
make
I'm getting.
you
I mean,
Bill.
let Alex talk real quick.
Yeah. My fault.
One at a time, please.
like because I do agree with Mateus. Kids are curious and sometimes they just don't want to go to their parents. Like shoot, sometimes I don't know what I remember asking my teachers, but I'd ask them more shit than I asked my parents.
Like before you make your point,
More
Alex,
stuff
like I
before.
never asked my parent. I never told my parents anything. Not
Me
until
neither.
after I turned 18. Like I'm just letting my mom know stuff now. So like I was one of those kids. Like if I felt like that, I would have never told my parents. Never to this day. Not even till the day I die. So like that's why I like made my point.
Yeah,
Go on,
it's a
Alex.
very important point for kids and stuff.
Well, let me ask you guys
And
a question off the topic then. Do you guys think maybe that there's a problem in the U.S. about how children don't trust their parents as much and they trust people they don't know, such as teachers?
Well,
yeah, that's just
that ties in with
personality.
like that
That's
just
just
ties in with
personal.
like your
Yeah.
family like how your family dynamic is and like situation and everything,
I
like
feel like
hierarchy, like what type of like class you're in, because if you're in like the middle and upper class, you're not really gonna feel affected.
The middle and
Okay.
upper class, can you go on that, or what do you mean by
Well,
that? How they're not affected?
not really affected because life is a bit easier, so you don't really have to worry about other things.
yeah.
It's like
Well, I mean,
is it like you don't want
Well,
to put
it
more
puts
onto your
it puts
parents'
more
plate?
pressure onto the family dynamic, so that's why I say that.
So do you think it's more of a an economic issue?
Yeah, it's always been like that.
An economic, okay.
Boy, do you not see gas prices? Like it's always been an
God
economic
damn.
issue. Like
Okay, but
it doesn't
that's a whole
it
Wait,
doesn't
different
actually, I
matter.
know
gas
this is a
prices.
very random question
No,
off
but
topic.
it's
How
like
much
we
is
can
it?
go
it
off
doesn't
topic.
matter. It doesn't matter if minimum wage is gonna be like $20 or you like whatever ridiculous price. If everything is just gonna cost 3 times as much as it was before, it doesn't matter how much you're gonna make.
Mhm.
Everything is just gonna be super taxed and super pricey. Like it doesn't really matter.
Let me real quick before you go, Emmanuel. This podcast, it doesn't have to be strictly on the bill. We can go off into I'd imagine
Okay, that's
Emmanuel's
perfect.
about to start
I
talking
just
about
need
Joe
just one
Biden or
question.
something
How
like
much?
that.
Okay, just how much are the gas prices in Florida? I need to know.
It's about
Uh,
$5, I think.
Yeah, like diesel
You're
is like
out of your
$5.
mind. No, it's
Yeah.
not.
In California, it's about seven and a half to
It's
$8.
$7.81, I
Yeah,
think.
something like that.
Yeah.
I thought 389 was bad. What the?
You got
389.
389 over there.
That was like last
Yeah.
year.
Bro,
That's
Bro,
crazy.
dude, you
Even
don't want
mine's
to know
almost
how low
five.
it get. Dude, in Texas, it gets down to like 220.
Two
Like normal.
Yeah.
20? Yo, I'm
That's
gonna
like our
cry.
normal gas prices.
Yo, chill.
Everybody was having a panic attack when they got
Stop
to
talking.
389.
Please. Stop talking about your gas prices. I'm gonna cry.
Honestly,
Alright,
that's
Alex.
like 205, bro. I'm
That-
God.
Alex, what's your gas prices?
They're about like
Oh,
490,
490.
485 to 490.
That's about ours as well. if you
Yeah,
guys
that's
know.
like the same. That's like the same. Because
That's
diesel's
pretty
like
depressing.
1.
It got
like
to 5 at one
52.
point. It's
Yeah,
it's normally at
I think-
88 or 89 or something. Like it's
Yeah, it's crazy. It's going up like crazy. And not only that, there's also the inflation. It's at a an all-time high in the U.S. Right?
Well,
and
it's always going up.
no,
Okay,
that's not
what
true.
were we talking
It's
about?
going down
What?
before.
It's always gonna be an all time high recently.
No,
Okay,
it's,
so-
recently it has been. It actually it did go down during the Trump administration, and it was pretty steady during the well, sort of steady during the second term of Obama.
Well,
So yeah, but why do you think the inflation went up?
What? Are we talking
something that
about-
always
We
goes
can
up.
go to different issues. It doesn't matter to stay on one issue. Come on, this is the
Oh
podcast,
yeah,
this whole
I
thing.
forgot. This isn't a one topic podcast.
Nah,
Yeah.
I just think gas prices are stupid, bro. Those companies are
Okay,
making
well-
so much money.
You didn't realize why the gas prices.
Because of the
Oh,
companies,
yes.
bro.
Well, no,
I know
okay,
They're
the
fucking.
it's a
also,
part of everything, really. Let me ask
okay,
you
yes, it has
this.
to do something with the companies, but at the same time, it also has to do with you realize it has to do something with the war, right?
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
that's like half the difference.
Let me ask
No,
you a
no, yeah,
question.
but if you
Do you
combine two
think
factors,
let
it's
me
one half the war, and
mhm.
then
Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's more of a problem that it's the war, or do you think it's more of the thing that since Biden took office, like one of the first things he did was close down the pipeline?
Well, the pipeline
Biden,
wasn't
Biden
working.
pipeline, yeah,
The pipeline was in
100%.
Pipe.
construction,
I,
which would have made gas
I
prices
think
Yeah,
the
the
cheaper.
war
pipeline would have
definitely
taken many
boosted
more
it,
years to
but
have been finished.
He also
I
And the
mean,
stopped
pipeline didn't
oil.
matter.
He also stopped oil production in the
uh,
U.S., which would
I'm
have made
sorry,
everything
Alex.
much
I love
cheaper
you.
and
I
made us
love you.
independent.
I know you're a Democrat, and I've been a Democrat before, but Biden did fuck up pretty bad, pretty bad.
With what?
Hold up, real
Dude, okay,
quick,
he
Emmanuel.
cut off the pipelines, and the issue is with this whole thing is that he also made millions of people lose their jobs
Um,
just
Hey
on the
Renzo.
Aman,
spot,
hold up.
on the
One
spot.
question. Emmanuel.
He didn't do any like sort of program to help. What?
Emmanuel, let's keep it PG, please. Let's
This
tone
is
down the
PG.
cursing.
We're political. Let's
No,
get
you keep
into
cursing.
it.
Just let's bring it down a little bit, all right?
I want smoke.
Okay. Just I'm gonna have to beep out a lot of that, just so you know.
Did I
You
um,
curse?
make it very
you're
difficult for
cursing
me.
every like other sentence, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize I did.
Is yeah,
Okay,
a little
let me
bit down bad.
rephrase. Let's
No,
pretend that
we
never
it's
happened.
fine. I can just
Three.
beep out
Okay, okay.
the thing.
Just Renzo, just cut. Start it from this point. Three,
Hmm.
two, one.
What I
So yeah, Alex, I understand you're very democratic, and I respect that because there's certain views that I see in Democrats. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But with the Biden situation, or what happened with the pipeline, is it was kind of ridiculous because, in all honesty, he shut down the pipeline, made millions of people lose their jobs, and he had no program to like be like, hey, if you lost your job, we're going to transfer you to this pipeline, or just and like try to help them out. He did nothing essentially. And on top of that, yes, that was a huge factor into our gas prices and how they are today. I mean,
But
I'm not.
how? How does that affect the gas prices?
It's the pipe, bro. If you take away a whole pipeline, you're literally restricting the
Well, the
gas to.
pipeline would have taken years to finish. It wouldn't have been done by now.
it was about a year or two away from being finished.
Yeah, and it would have helped significantly.
No, and that's to give Canada oil.
Pull it up. Pull it up right now.
No, it was not to give Canada oil.
It was not to give
It was to
Canada oil.
transfer it oil
No.
around the U.S. Also,
No.
And to
the
Canada.
oil the and to Canada as well, but also to
Again,
the
it was
U.S.
selling your peasant.
But the pipeline is not the only thing that he shut down in the U.S. He also stopped all the oil production in the U.S. to make us independent. We now are now
Yeah.
dependent on the Iran
Okay. All I'm gonna
and
say,
Russia and all
y'all
that,
probably hate me
Actually, I
because
know
Venezuela.
that's different though. I know there's nah that didn't really. I know he. I think he restricted the areas they could be in. Or
No, he
I
shut
don't.
down all of it in the U.S.
Hey,
I think
Renzo,
I
can I just say
heard.
something?
Yeah. Hmm.
Uh, this is probably gonna piss off a lot of college students, which is gonna be really funny. But Trump 2024.
Okay.
That's how to say it. It's how to
That's
say
great. That's
it.
great. That's
I'm gonna
great.
wear
Yeah,
my.
dude.
Can I put my MAGA hat on?
If you
But
want, go for it. It's
that's
fine.
honestly if he can run.
uh,
If we can run?
actually, yeah. If you could, he could run.
We can
No
run.
way. Isn't he like under in court right now for something?
No. Okay. So the reason he's in court
Yeah.
right now is he's suing Hillary Clinton for what is it
No,
called?
but isn't he still in court for something of the
No,
January 6th thing?
no. They acquitted that very quickly. They threw that out
Oh.
really quickly. Yeah. Um.
No, but
And
didn't they raid his house?
I didn't hear about that. No, I don't know.
They raided Trump's house.
If they did, there was a long raid.
No, yeah, cuz
Dang, bro.
they found
They went
like
to
papers.
war.
Let me see.
At the war, yeah.
Oh,
No,
you
but
know, my job
I
they built
think
Trump's like deck or whatever.
Dude, screw the
Trump's
Ukraine and
deck.
Russia war. I want to know what happened
Yeah.
here, though.
Okay, but yeah, I don't know if uh, building the deck, but the thing that Trump's in court for right now is that he's suing Hillary Clinton for investigating his administration to try to find like fraudulent claims or whatever with Russia, because you know how there was a Russia hoax thing when he was in office, right? Which came out to be that the you know how it all started with the phone call and stuff like that, right? The 7 hour phone call or 6 hour phone call, right?
Ah, yes, I
yeah.
remember that.
That
That was
that
way.
came
Oh
out
my god.
and all like before I know Fox said it and I think I don't know if you guys know who Steven Crowder is on YouTube, but I think they both said before even any of that was cleared up that there's he didn't do that, none of that, right? And it finally came out that even CNN is now saying it that the phone calls were completely a hoax. They were lying about it the entire time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So
Even
now
CNN said it.
even CNN said it. If I can find an article, I'll show it up on the screen in the editing.
CNN, most democratic freaking page of all
Yeah,
time.
and CNN's also they're also
I mean,
talking about the bill,
to be
but
fair, Fox is the most Republican channel of all
Fox
time
is
as well.
probably one of the more Republican ones, yeah. But
Yeah, which is okay.
yeah, but
Also,
both
I
Fox
kind of want
and
to,
CNN are both saying it. So
I kind of want to talk about something with politics in that sense. Is that I really hate that news channels do that. Whether it be
Mhm.
like for example, I'd probably go more towards the Republican side, but even so, like I'm somebody who's very non-biased, right? I really look at both candidates both ways, and I really make my choice based on that. I don't just be like, oh, I'm Republican. I'm a
right, because
diehard
you
Republican fan.
in 2020 you voted for
Like for example,
Biden, right?
dude, literally in 20, literally when the elections were out, I voted for Biden. I
Right.
literally voted. But now I'm like, okay, I see Biden in office, and in all honesty, I don't think he's doing that great of a job. And I'm like, okay, if I'm being honest, I probably should have voted for Trump. If I'm being dead.
Hmm.
But my issues with what I have with the news channels is that they literally just suck off freaking Republicans or Democrats. It's just like it's so obvious. It's just like, for example, when Trump did something wrong, like CNN would be on their ass, but Fox News would be like, he did nothing wrong, which it was so obvious when he did. It's just
Okay,
like
well,
be able
let me
to
ask you
admit.
this. Hold on, let me ask you this. Do you have an example of that?
Let me go. Let me think, but it's true. You know this is true. You know this is true.
I know they protect Trump more of like a bias
Maybe
thing than
okay.
Fox.
I know, but and I'm not just saying this for Republicans. It's
Mhm.
true on the Democratic
It's
side
true
too.
on
I
both
mean,
sides.
like for example,
There's
like
no saying that, but
Biden, for example, with the pipeline, CNN was just like, "Oh, you did nothing wrong, man. Nobody lost their jobs. Like, really? Biden
Yeah.
says he has a program when Biden never said he had a program. It's just like,
Actually, I have another topic.
I think Biden did say he had a program though.
What about
I don't
that
know
new
that he went through with it.
judge? How like the
Uh,
Republicans didn't vote her?
what was
Like,
the
bro, like
yes the
my honest opinion on it is like Democratic, Republican or not,
uh,
she is the most qualified person for that
well,
job.
let me ask you.
Her
Hold up.
qualifications exceed any of theirs.
Okay, well let me ask you this. Okay, so you're talking about the first. She's on mute. Okay. Um,
oh,
let me
that's what
ask
the who
you
is that?
this because
This is
with the
my
judge.
girlfriend. This is Ali.
Ah,
Okay. Well, let me
Just
ask you
joining
this,
the
Alex.
discussion.
Hmm. Let me ask you this, Alex. With the judge, this Supreme Court judge, I don't remember her name, but she did you so you know how you said that the Republicans did not vote for her, right?
Yeah.
And how everyone's saying she's the uh, first African American judge to be on the Supreme Court.
Oh, the
African
Supreme
Well,
Court.
America
that's true.
woman to
Technically
be on
true.
the so to be on the Supreme Court, yes, but did you know back in if I'm right, it was the 1980s, in 70s, 80s or 90s, I don't remember. But the whoever was president then actually, I believe it was a Republican too, um, nominated the first black woman to the Supreme Court, and Joe Biden shot it down. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but that doesn't. I don't think this has to do anything with skin color
So
at
okay, but
all.
did you also know that she goes easy on pedophiles and rapists and stuff like that? That it was came out that she was giving them much lesser sentences than the norm,
yeah.
right? And there's also other judges that were qualified. It's just that he said while he was running and also at the beginning of his presidency, he wanted to be the first to elect and like a nominate and also get the first black woman into the Supreme Court, which I think okay, that's great because a lot of people want the judges to look like society, which is good, right? But also you shouldn't be going off of that. Uh, you shouldn't be going off of race or gender or sex or whatever you want to call it to nominate a judge. You should be going off of qualifications and if they're actually
Yeah.
good or if they're
Okay,
you
you
have to see
know,
Nah,
their judge
she's the most
records.
qualified.
see, but don't you see a pattern here? Like, for example, we just
She
saw. I mean, it's kind of obvious. Like, for example, with like the gay bill thing, it's just like this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like media blowing out of proportion. like they obviously made it seem like this girl wasn't qualified just because she was, she's African American.
Well,
And on top of that,
Or were you saying that the Republican news were saying
no,
Fox
I'm
News
just saying
something
like
like
kind of
that?
like the news is kind of like I'm not saying that they're saying that, but like I'm just saying like people who are like complaining about it, like oh she is qualified are kind of just saying like oh the reason they're doing this is they're not like making her seem qualified is because she's black,
Well, no.
which
Okay,
is not true. They
well,
just try to
okay,
use that as their main argument,
right. So, I know a lot of
which is
news
stupid.
that are on the left talk about her race all the time, which, I mean, I guess whatever, right? It doesn't really matter whether she's black, white, Hispanic,
No,
anything like that, right?
obviously it
Whether
shouldn't
it's a
matter.
guy or
It's
girl.
just, but in reality, it's
Listen,
just
bro, she's a
like you
good
said
judge. She's a
before,
good
she
judge.
has a bad history, like you just told me.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
Alex, is he frozen? No, he's good. Alex, so
No.
you said that
Basically.
you said that she had a good history. Do you have any examples of that or?
No, I'm not talking about history. I'm just talking about qualifications.
I
So
mean,
I don't
look,
know.
you can.
I
qualifications
don't
does
know
she have?
anything about her history, but we'll see.
I mean, okay. To be fair, like Renzo's like, what I'm gonna say, even if she, this is for the Supreme Court.
It's for Supreme Court, yes.
Okay, yeah. Also, like, even if she does have good things, if she has a lot of major bad things, then you also gotta understand this is at the highest level.
Exactly. This
You
is
can't
the
have you can't have a bad reputation. Period.
mhm.
So you can have a lot of good shit going for you, but like if you have some really bad stuff going for you, you shouldn't be qualified for a Supreme Court justice. I
So
mean,
let me ask you both this, or all of you guys this. Do you think maybe that or that President Joe Biden maybe rushed the nomination? That maybe you should have taken more time to nominate someone that
consider
maybe
other
didn't
options
have allegations
100%.
against them against
I mean,
them.
100% I agree. I mean, if you're really taking a consideration for a Supreme Court justice, I think you should really take your time and just make sure that somebody like that isn't even considered, period.
And Alex, what do you think? Alex Matis?
If she has a bad
No,
history like
I'm trying to bring up her
I,
Bro, she's just qualified.
Well,
Like
what
she's like
qualifications does she have
actually
though?
has the most qualifications I think out of anybody in the Supreme Court.
okay, but she
What
has
are
a
the
lot of
qualifications
qualifications, but
though?
she also has a lot of bad things going for her.
Well, Alex, hold up. What are the
That
qualifications
would
that
make
she
her more
have,
I'm
and
unqualified.
trying to
against
bring them
who
up.
would it
you
be?
keep saying qualifications, but what qualifications?
Like I know she
Pull
Like,
was
it up
in the
here.
I think it was like she was appellate judge or whatever the type of judge she was for a good amount of years, like a decade or two or something like that, right?
Despacito,
Um,
basito, suave, suavecito.
okay. uh,
I'm
she
singing.
was in there for a couple of years, but I don't know if that would you guys consider that a qualification that would matter? Because not all the time does experience mean a better judge or politician or anything like that.
I mean, honestly, like, just in the sense of like the um, like judges in general, like prior experience being a judge, kind of like sets me on the wrong way because like judges kind of have like a dark past, most of them,
Hmm.
like because it's their courtroom, you know,
Are you
what
talking
they say
about
goes.
they have a dark past in the courtroom or like before they
Like
were
in the
judges?
courtroom, like them being a like so like you said she was a judge already,
Hmm.
so like she already owned a courtroom, so like you're just promoting her, really. You just gave her more
Right.
power. That's the way I see it.
Hmm.
Like not all the time, but like it gives me the skepticism about letting her in because you know
So
she's already been there before. She already knows how it works.
so would you think that experience equals like is a good factor to say that they're qualified for this, or maybe they're better because they have more experience, or what do you think
It's
about
a
that?
It's a
factor.
cautious factor.
It's a cautious. So you're saying sometimes it'll go one way, sometimes it'll go the other.
Yeah, it's not honestly. It's not always a good thing. It's a bad thing to have someone who is already a judge. They could have
Well,
been a super corrupt judge.
here's the
Hey, I
thing
mean, yeah, okay, yeah,
to be put
it's
into
50
this.
That's the way I see it. Like you have
Yeah.
a lot of judges who I'm sure will never ever have their dirty work ever be spilled because they were just that good. They own their
That's
courtroom.
right.
So like that's just the way I see it because the government is very corrupt, but it's not all corrupt.
It's not just about experience; it's also
Here,
about the quality of
look
your
at this.
experience.
This is what I'm trying to find the actual
Yep.
article, but I want you guys to see this real quick.
I actually found an article from the Washington Post
Oh
showing the
my god.
qualifications. Sorry
I'm
to
sorry,
scare.
you scared the hell out of me.
I didn't know when to
God.
butt in. Everyone
You
kept
can butt
Oh
in
no,
going.
whenever.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
No,
Keep going.
yeah. I do agree with Alex actually on the qualifications because she does have more qualifications than any of the other judges.
Could you name a
So,
qualification?
well, for education, she went to both public high school, Ivy League law school. Career, she was in a Supreme Court clerking, sorry,
Hmm.
public defender, sentencing commission, district judge, and court of appeals judge. And I don't know who it was that she was being like interviewed or whatever, where it was all over on the internet where he said basically that like he had a conversation with the other judge and he was talking about piano or whatever book she read, and then Katanji Brown
Hmm.
was talking. He tried mentioning a book to her and he was like, what do you think about this in our school education system? She was like, well, that has nothing to do with my job. Like, she's very about her job, she's straight to the point, she knows what she's talking about, she knows what she's
Well,
doing.
I don't know what book you're referring to, but
It was something about like racism or whatever. It was a book
Yeah,
that's
baby
like
racism.
trying.
okay.
Our
Well,
Yeah, yeah,
baby's
yeah.
racist or something
so
like
do you
that.
Mhm, mhm.
so you guys think that more of a thing that he was asking more of an irrelevant question than anything?
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Taking
Do you
it more
think
off topic.
He's trying to get her to say stuff out of context.
do you think maybe he was
Yeah.
asking about that to see if she would answer if it's like constitutional or not, since they're going to be on like the highest level court there is in the U.S.
I think everyone has their own biases, whether they like to admit it or not.
Well,
So you
that's
can be as open minded as possible, but for instance, in the Hispanic community, there's always going to be that bit of like racism towards yourself. For instance, within the Black Latino community, they're already like against themselves. Anyone that's darker than them is already like, okay, we're against you, whether they want to admit it or not, even though they are also a part of the Black community.
right.
You know what I mean?
So, I
Yeah.
mean, okay, yes, I know what you mean, but all right. So the thing with judges though is that they're supposed to, whenever they're being a judge, obviously on
Hmm.
duty, they're supposed to put that all aside. They're not supposed to have any emotion. They're strictly supposed to look at the law,
Absolutely.
and yeah, they're supposed to look at the law and what's the problem. Whether, like, for instance, the book you brought up, right? Um, they're supposed to look at it and say, is this constitutionally all right to be in schools or not in schools, right? And there's actually some examples of a lot of judges that whether it be the Supreme Court or lower, that let's say there were more of a right-leaning judge, right? They would actually vote on the left-leaning subject for the subject matter that was in their court.
Hmm.
I'd have to look up if I can find it. I'll in the editing I'll put it up on the screen. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of examples that they put their emotions aside. They see, like, is this straight up, is this constitutional for this to be here? Yes or no, no matter what emotion I have about it.
I mean, we could take it back all the way back to racism and say that they thought that was constitutional as well, and made sure that they had more racist judges on the panel. So in my opinion, I think she did the right thing to avoid the question. Although I do see what you mean from him trying to see where she's going to lean towards and if she's going to be biased or not.
Okay.
But I think he has his own agenda as well.